Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good welcome to the Breakfast of Champions room, where we are hosted by Marilyn Denise Coaching Services Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. My name is Kathy, and I want to welcome you into the room. Today is Tuesday, April the 11th, and just want to welcome you into the room this morning. Our lines open up about 5:30, where we get started with some good worship music by Nene Houston. She's always playing some good music, some we've heard before and some that we haven't heard before. And she's always ushers in the spirit of the Lord into the room. I want to go in and do a scripture and then a devotion this morning. And the name of it is called Remember and Expect. It says, you are facing challenges today that look too big. Do your dreams seem impossible? Instead of going around discouraged and thinking it's never going to work out, start dwelling on your victories. The key to staying encouraged so you can see God open new doors and turn negative situations around is to never forget what He has already done. Every one of us can look back and see the hand of God on our lives. Start remembering how far God has brought you. God has opened doors that should have never opened for you, just as He did for the Israelites. He's helped you accomplish things you never could have accomplished on your own. He's brought you out of difficulties that you thought you never could survive. Rehearse all the times God has brought you through and remember how far He has brought you. Remember that God is always there to help you when you need Him. Remember that God is always there to support you when you need Him.
Are we frozen this morning or is it just me?
It's frozen. I
Good
kept
morning.
messing with my phone trying to see.
All righty. All right, guys. Well, it looks like Miss Kathy is frozen this morning. Y'all, we got a extra host on this morning, Mrs. Regina Oliver, who's new to the family of Breakfast of Champions. She's not new to our group, but she's new hosting. Mrs. Regina, if you want to kind of take over while Mrs. Kathy is absent, and then we can join her back in just a few minutes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Well, I didn't have anything prepared. I was just gonna bounce off of whatever she said. But I guess we can. I would like to just go ahead and tell everyone good morning, hello, and thank you for joining in on the call. As she was saying, we meet every morning at 5:30. The lines open for Miss Nene, and we meet Monday through Friday, and we get started at 6 with whoever the speaker is. We were I guess we'll go ahead and do prayer. So if everyone would bow their heads. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for blessing us to wake up today to a day that wasn't promised to us. I want to thank you for being so good to all of us and our families. I want to thank you for everything that you do for us on a daily basis. I want to thank you so much, my Heavenly Father, for this group that I'm on every morning. It's really been a blessing to me. I just want to thank you for doing so many things in my life on a daily basis, just keeping me, just teaching me the different things that I need to know to be a better person on the whole. I want to thank you for just being so good, so merciful, allowing us to come together and be able to learn how to just be a good person. I want to thank you for everything you do for us and everything that you're going to do for us. I just ask that you take control of this class today and just help everyone to learn something new and just try to be kind to people just on a daily basis, because there's so much going on in the world today, and we just need that. We just need love. We just need to be able to have something kind to say to someone. So thank you again, Father, in Jesus' name, amen. And so yesterday we were talking. Is it froze up again? Can
Oh,
you
you're
hear me?
good, Regina.
Okay. So yesterday we had Miss Sabrina Tapasi on talking, and she was talking about the most valuable people in your life aren't always, the most visible. And she made reference to like a couple of things. For one, I can relate to this with like baseball, sports, football, baseball, whatever. With both my sons, you don't really think about the parent being the real MVP. But we we sacrifice a lot, having to take them to all the game, take to all the practices, take them to the games, traveling out of town. We sometimes we get up at 5 and 6 in the morning if we had a game out of town, to get them to the game. And you talking about games might start at 8 in the morning, they go at latest 4 or 5 in the evening, basically like taking up like, your days off on the weekend or whatever. And then just providing them with, the snacks and trying to help the coaches out and everything. What else we do? Practically did everything, So that, that was one of the things that, it hadn't really dawned on me about, as far as, how important people can be when they're not visible. You kind of see things through a different lens, Yeah, that is true. So that was one of the things that I took away from it. And then talking about Moses and his wife, how she stepped in and took care of their son and circumcised him. Moses had a lot going on, and he had forgotten about that. So when she took it upon herself, I'm not going to nag him. I'm not going to, aggravate him about not getting that done. I'm just gonna do what I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna step up and I'm gonna take care of it, so he can take care of what he can do. So I got that out of it. I hope Kathy's back on, because I thought I was gonna be really watching today, but look at the Lord, boy, he just done threw me out there, I tell you. So
And you're doing good,
bet.
Regina.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
doing
Yes.
absolutely amazing, Regina.
thank
Amen.
you.
Yes.
I don't
Thank
know
you
what
all.
happened. I don't know what
I
happened. It
told
just
you.
went off, and I went
Told
back
you.
in.
Doing good, Regina. Great job.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Miss Kathy, I'll turn it back over to you, honey.
Okay. I don't even know where I left off. But anyway, welcome everybody back into the room. What I heard, that's good. That is Regina. I appreciate you, Regina, taking over. That's exactly what you were supposed to do this morning. As
Yes,
the co-host, just come right on in and take over. I appreciate it. And we can continue the conversation. I think I heard you talking about what you took away from yesterday, and about Sephora, Moses' wife, where she just went on, like you said, and took over, and she didn't nag him about it and say, why you didn't do this or something like that, and like right now, in the days of now, that's probably what we would have done, and start talking about it instead of just go ahead and taking care of the problem, and to save Moses' life and the nation, her nation. And I know one of the things that Sabrina had me thinking about also was, who are the most valuable people that are not always most visible. And I heard her talk about her husband, and sometimes, I excuse me, I know that I think of my husband in that way, like, because he works a lot, he try to do the things for the family, and he doesn't have to always be up front and, get all the recognition or anything like that. He just wants the partnership to run smooth. And then, we're here with our grandchildren, our daughter, we just want, things to go smoothly, like, God has planned it to go and stuff like that. And, he's very supportive in the things that I do here in the room, or when we have to take out the time to pray for somebody or something like that. He doesn't draw back, or say that it's not going to work or something like that. He is a man of faith. And I appreciate that, and I tell him that all the time. And I thought about Miss Marilyn being one of my people also, because she's always encouraging us. um, she's always seeing the best in everybody. Just I heard her say that she doesn't throw people away. She might take somebody out of a first chair or second chair, and put them somewhere else, but she doesn't throw people away. And then, the Lord always brings, people back to her at a certain different season in her life, and they always come back, and sometimes they just pick up and right where you left off or whatever. But I heard her say that she doesn't throw people away. And I thought about my mom too. My mom was a very, very valuable person in my life. And she, as a child, you always think your parents don't know what they're talking about or something like that. They don't get it. It's like they think we just grew up as an adult, and we never were children or something like that. But I thought about my mom, because a lot of times, she would tell me stuff, and like I said, you think, oh, she's old, she don't know, something like that. But now I'm in her shoes, and the tables have turned, with my daughter and my granddaughters and stuff like that. But I just thought about them, being valuable and not always so visible. You want to take into account of the things that they tell you, because they do have their wisdom or whatever. um I thought about also when I think Sabrina had talked about being valuable. I thought about the scripture, first, I think it's First Corinthians 12:19. The body has many parts, and the eye cannot say to the hand that I don't need you, and the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you, so that there should be no division in the body. But it's the parts that should have equal concern for each other. And I thought about that in the part of Sephora too, when Moses took Aaron with him, and he didn't consider taking his wife, or she didn't, get upset that he didn't take her, or, because she could have stepped out and said, I'm his wife, I should go with him, or, because it's kind of like she took her place as far as doing the circumcision, and she left the rest to, Moses to make that decision. And I thought about her when Sabrina said, you know, that Moses took Aaron with him. And I know last week we talked about with Harlan Bell, we talked about you can't take everybody with you, or you always want to take somebody with you, and because you're afraid to go by yourself. And God gave Moses the assignment, but he wanted to take Aaron with him, and I've been there, like I've heard Sister Marie talk about, when she wanted to take somebody with her, and people can't always go where you go. They can't do what you do, and God has placed the assignment on you. Then you have to be the one to, you know, um, make that to come to pass. And everybody has an assignment that God has given, and people can just only go so far with you. I guess I should say that, they're not going to be able to go with you the whole way. And then they have an assignment also that God has given them. So it's kind of like, when you're younger days, you want to take your friends with you, because this is, somebody you can talk to on the way, or lean on, or ask for advice or something like that, and you really can't take everybody with you when you're going on the journey that the Lord has sent you on, and he's there to help you all the whole way. And he sends people, in your path to encourage you and to help you out throughout the journey. But some people they're not equipped to go where you're supposed to go. And that's some of the things that I thought about on yesterday. Um, let's check the chat here and see if anybody has some um, comments or anything. Everybody's just saying good morning. Does anybody else have something that they would like to share that they got from yesterday's session about what Sabrina talked about on yesterday?
Morning, Miss Kathy.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. I was just thinking that when I was listening to you, and I was thinking about what Sabrina was saying about I guess, how the MVP. I'm like you. My mom, she was like that person, because when holidays come and all that, she would get everything together, and and everybody would come over and stuff like that. But we just didn't know how much time she took in the kitchen, to get everything ready and stuff like that. And then uh, I noticed I kind of fell in her footsteps, like with the holidays and Christmas and cooking and all that kind of stuff. And everybody would come over and stuff, and you know, to kind of get everything ready and stuff. And then again, like you were saying, like everybody can't go with you different places, on the level you're going to. Um, that's so true, because I used to think like, dang, I don't really talk to them that more. Or, we still friends, but we just be on different pages and stuff. And, at first it used to bother me, but then I was like, okay, Lord, you doing some things, so I just kind of just have to just adjust to the new, what He's
Mm-hmm.
doing. So
Mm-hmm. I get
that's
that.
so true. Things she was saying.
And I thought about when you said your mom used to do the dinners and stuff like that. You probably didn't really know how much time she spent in the kitchen trying to get everything ready and make sure everything was right and had all the ingredients and stuff like that. Now, if that's falling on you, now you see what she had to go through.
Yes.
The stress of trying to get all the food together and make sure she has everything. Because like even in as we grow up to an adulthood, as kids, you just ready to sit down and eat. You don't really know the process of the things. Now you're an adult, you're on the inside. Where when you're a child, you on the outside thinking, the food is ready, let's eat. But you didn't think about the preparation of the food. And then like you're talking about your friends, I've been there too. You think about, oh, I hadn't seen so and so, or so and so hadn't called me in a while. It's kind of like when I told people I was born again. Some were, happy for me, and then some were just kind of standoffish. People don't really know how to accept that when they don't know what you're talking about. And when you're trying to do something different with your life, as far as moving forward in the Lord, then you know, people that's supposed to go with you will go, and those that are not won't go. Not that you're leaving them behind, but you are, trying to improve your life, in Christ and stuff like that. So I get that. I get that, what you're
Right.
talking about. Thank you, Miss Toya, for sharing. Latoya, for sharing. Anybody else have something that they would like to share this morning on yesterday's session, or testimony, or revelation, or something?
Good morning, Miss Kathy.
Hey,
How
good
you
morning.
doing? This is
Good.
Miss Marie. When you ladies were talking just then, I got, I guess it should be a revelation when you were talking about when we were little and how your mother was cooking, and you didn't know when you're a kid, you just want to eat. And I was thinking when you said that, that's how it is even when I came to Christ. Before, I might have been raised up in a family, and I was raised up where I was drugged to church and stuff like this. So I just took for granted that, I was saved because everybody else was saved when I was a kid, I didn't know nothing else about it. Because I was at BTU, I was at Sunday school, I was drugged to all this. So I took for granted that, hey, I'm good. But then I didn't realize what Jesus went through till I got a personal relationship with Him. When I got that personal relationship with him, I understood the suffering that I've been celebrating just because, because even when I was a teenager, I do what I want to do. And, oh, it was good. We made it out of that one, and I did not understand until I started getting that personal relationship, the things that really go on with the suffering, the things that my parents went through, the praying that they went through, just so that I could have a relationship with him. And now that I am grown and I am deeper with Christ, got a long way to go, but I find myself praying for my grandchildren and calling out their names. Even when I forget their names, God, I say stuff like, Lord, you know their names better than I know their names. And I start thinking about those things. So I understand what you ladies are saying, and it just gave me that revelation that in Christianity, we were just like that. When we were babes, we didn't know no better. We just thought we took it for granted. But now we know that the suffering that he did, and this past weekend really helped me to enhance that. Thank you for letting me share.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's good. That's good. You're so right. Because, like I said, when we are kids, we don't really, take firsthand of what all the preparation and things that the parents do. Like you said, the praying and the calling out the names and pleading the blood and the sacrifice that our parents really made for us, until we become a parent or an adult. As the word says, when I was a child, I thought as a child, but as an adult, you put away those childish things and that, this thing is serious, and you have a more, perspective about it and stuff like that. So, Miss Regina, did you want to comment on that? What Miss Cookie shared with us this morning?
Yes, especially about being a child. That you're right. You don't think so much about the stuff that the parents go through, like getting things ready. For instance, like my mama cooking and stuff. All I can remember was me and my brother was like, "Is it ready yet? Is it ready yet?" Just don't even care, like the struggle. Just like you just magically come in there, or you wake up to where they've been up all night cooking. You wake up and you got a whole feast laid above you, laid out for you to eat or whatever. And then all you can, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? That's all we thought about was like, was it time to eat? You know what I'm saying? And so as far as another person in my life also is my husband as well. Uh, he does a lot, even as far as back when he was, working in the oil field. Now he works local because I was just like over him being gone all the time, missing everything. But even back then and even now, like, he would come in, he'd still have his stuff on, them boots and that FRC, and he at the kitchen sink washing dishes when I come in. And I'm coming in, I'm fussing because when I leave for work, there's no dishes. I come back home to a sink full. Or we come home, to a sink full, whatever. He never say anything. He just, whatever he sees needs to be done, he just go ahead and do it. He wash, cook, clean, do the yard. He does it all. Iron my clothes up for the week, my uniforms, hang them up, just do it. It's just the little things, and it was so funny. One of my friends was saying, we had all went out to get something to eat the other day, and she was like, what I noticed? She was like, y'all make me sick. And we were just looking like, what? Like, he holds your hand, like y'all, everywhere y'all go, like when y'all walking, y'all hold hands. I was like, when we drive, when we're in the car driving, we hold hands, that's just like under what we do, He trying to hold the wheel and I'm holding my hand. So, I said, what? Just some things like you don't even really think about. You just kind of like take for granted. She was like, how many people, most men, they just go off and just leave them. He's holding your hand and he makes sure he grab your hand. I'm like, yeah, that's just kind of like how it's always been. So, stuff like that, you kind of take for granted. And so being with him for 17 years, I've gotten used to it. I can say I didn't have it in the past, but I've gotten used to that. So I can relate to that a lot. So and thank you.
That's good. That's good. I like that. And I thought about also that I lost my train of thought, but when you said something about I don't know. I guess it'll come back to me, but I was just thinking about how you said that y'all hold hands, and something came to me, and I was gonna say that, and I just lost my train of thought. But thank you, Miss Regina, for saying that, and then thank you, Miss Cookie and Miss Toya, for sharing this morning. Does anybody else have something that they would like to share? I'm gonna probably take one more before we let Mr. Harlan come in this morning. I'm gonna check the chat here and see if anybody's saying something. Nope, that's in there. So I guess we're gonna let Mr. Harlan come in and do his session with us. We're still on the book of the fear factor. I mean the fear factor, the people factor. Lord have mercy, the fear factor, the people factor. And Mr. Harlan Bell is going to do chapter 12, and it's called Kiss Orpah Goodbye, recognizing who is in your life for the long term. And I see that he is on the line this morning. And just to remind you, ladies, that he will be taking questions in the chat box, or you can, you know, send a direct message to him if you don't, want your name mentioned or something like that, and you have a question for him. But after he's through talking, he will take, questions from us and just engage in conversation so that we can keep this space going and everything. And I just want to thank you again, Miss Regina, for being on here this morning. And you look so beautiful this morning. I know, you talked to me yesterday, and I see we got the job done. I appreciate you. Okay,
Yes,
Mr.
y'all.
Harlan.
Yes.
Yes. And Mr.
Thank you,
Harlan, we
Kathy.
want to welcome you this morning too. Also, I see that you're ready. If you're ready.
Good morning, everyone. How is everybody doing? Um, Everyone around the world, wherever you are watching this, you are in the right place at the right time. My name is Harlan, servant leader, husband, father, certified life coach, licensed financial analyst. I'm just here to help you to remove hurdles out of your life so that you can know the Lord up close and personal and live a heaven-ready life and live your best life here on earth, both spiritually and naturally. And my mission is always to help people understand that everything is about relationship. There's no part of your life that you can live that is not affected directly by the relationships that you have with God, with other people. So remember to love the Lord with all your heart, with all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Those two cover everything. If you do those, then you're doing everything you should be doing. So today we want to talk about saying goodbye to Orpah. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I can probably say that that the young lady that well, not young lady anymore, but the lady that we know as Oprah Winfrey, I'm pretty sure her parents was probably trying to name her after this lady, but they, with back in that time, with the education being what it was, they probably switched the letters around and you got Oprah now instead of Orpah. And it's very easy to switch that around. But saying goodbye to Orpah, that's a story in the scripture where it's actually in the story of Ruth, and it covers things about loyalty and losing things and where do we go from here. And as we look around the world, we can see the things that Jesus told us happening, every pretty much all day, every day. And we look and we say, what do we move from? Where do I need to shift? Do I be still? Lord, what do I do? Do I let go of this? Do I say bye to this? Do I grab onto this? And we looking at our families, we looking at our jobs, we're looking at our grocery stores and all the different changes and things going on. And there's so much going on in the world. I could go on and on and on, but I don't, I'm not trying to move off the topic. But there's so much that just looped right in with all of that. And as you will, Lord, you bring it out as you want to. So when we're looking at this particular story, and I always like to just, we look at it and then we look at how does that relate to me, because that's the one thing that we want to know. Everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? And when you hit that radio station, then people tune in because they want to know, how does this affect me? What does it have to do with my life? Do I even need to listen to this? Is this relevant to me? So in this particular situation with Orpah, she's the daughter-in-law to Naomi. And so they are in this foreign land of Moab because they moved there because of the famine. And all of them were married. Naomi, her husband and her sons, and this is her sons' wives, Ruth and Orpah. And they moved to this land trying to, be in a better position, like, people moving to, to North Texas, because, this has, been, voted to be one of the best places to live, every year, whatever. And so you have these different places all over where it's voted, well, this is number one, this is number two, this is number three, whatever. People are moving here. People are visiting here, are going here for this or that. And unfortunately, in the body of Christ, you have people jumping places, trying to see where the power of the Lord is, because every place does not welcome the Lord. Yeah, just because it says that it's a place of worship doesn't mean they actually invite the Lord there. Doesn't mean that He's welcome. And so just to prove that fact, I was talking to this lady one time, and we just having a conversation about faith and stuff like that. And we just got to discussing about the different things that whatever that how we move in our faith. And I was explaining to her what I believe and what I experienced. And her response to me was that if I were at her church and I began to heal someone, they would put me out. So this is what we have going on in the world, whereas people don't believe that God wants to heal us. Why are we praying? Why even pray if we can't be healed? Why even preach if we can't be healed? So there's a lot of misconceptions that that the enemy has given people, and that's how we know the difference in relationship and religion. So when we have situations where we're going to have all these different situations in our lives where we have these things where we talked about last week, we talked about this thing called loyalty. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but God is trying to tell you something. What do you mean, Harlan? Well, because it doesn't matter what we talk about. It doesn't matter what the topic is. It seems like the key thing that God has been saying is letting go, forgiveness, letting things go that you have no reason to hold on to, that is not benefiting you, that they're only keeping you back spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically, your health. It's that's been the key thing that I've heard every time we get together, every time we have conversation, is the fact of there are things that we have to let go of, because those things are hurdles. And so here's Naomi, the mother-in-law, Ruth, the sister-in-law, and Orpah, the other sister-in-law. And they're in this place, this new other land, trying to find more resources, should we say. So the men all die. Naomi's husband dies. Then her two sons die. Now, mind you, in this era of life, it wasn't like that. Both spouses were out in the world, working in the marketplace. It was in this era is the man is out working and the wife is making the home, which that's a 24/7 job. But I'm just saying that was the income spectrum was the man working outside of the home. Now imagine you in 2023 and you are a stay-at-home wife and you have no life insurance, you have no investments, you have no 401k, you have no other family members around, you don't have a church family, you don't have relatives, and your husbands die on you. All of you and all your sisters and your mother, your mother-in-law, all your husbands die, leaving you with nothing. And you're in this this other country, and everything that you know and love, half of it is gone, and then your whole provision is gone. What do? So this is a hard situation, and these are situations that we face every day in 2023. Doesn't matter what year you're in, somebody's going through it everywhere at all times. Where there's people thriving, there's also people who are losing. And so that's just this thing called life that we have. Anything can happen at any given moment. God forbid that any of these things that should fall upon us. And so here's Orpah and Ruth and Naomi. What do? They're looking at each other and they're broken, you're hurt, you've lost your spouse, you've lost your husband, this person who's promised to love you, who's taking care of you, and you're in a strange land and they're gone. Like, what is going on here? And so in situations like this, guys, it's very easy for people to, it's amazing how when things go good, we take the credit and we say, I did that because I worked hard for it. Why is it when things go bad, we blame God for it? You didn't give God the credit when you were buying your Mercedes. You didn't give God the credit when you bought your new 5,000 square foot house. You said it was because of your degree. It was because of your hard work. It was because of your effort. It was because of you did this. But when you lose your job, how is it now it's God's fault? God, why did you let this happen? God, how did this happen? When something bad happens, why we blame God? So here's these three ladies. I mean, what do? You sitting here looking at each other trying to figure out what do we do next. We can't stay here because we have no money. We have no way to we weren't out here working. We don't know, what we're going to do. We're not near family. They can't help us. There's no GoFundMe. There's nothing coming. There's no lawyer showing up with a will and anything like that. There's no 40 acres and a mule. There's no company. There's none of that. They have zero. All they have is the breath in their body, the clothes on their back, and each other. And they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. Now, I don't know what you've experienced in your life. Maybe you've had some things that passed. Maybe some of you have lost a husband or wife or a child. Those things we don't you there's no you can't there's no class for that, you know? All you have is that this is life and that we are all appointed. It is appointed once for each of us to leave this earth. That's all we have. And the first thing we think about is what why? Why did this happen? How and you feel like the air is taken out of the breath is taken out of you. How did this happen, Lord? God, why, how did you let this happen? And we have to remember that we're not separated from the things of this life. Time and chance happens to everyone. It rains on the just as well as the unjust. But it's just amazing that when bad things happen, we look at God like he was not supposed to let anything bad happen, because we consider ourselves good people. And we in our society, we think that that means that you shouldn't be bothered by bad people or bad things. That's not how life works. It rains on the just as well as the unjust. That means that anything can happen to any person at any times. Yes, sometimes there are things when your purpose is not over, yeah, that God may intervene and not allow you to be taken out of here because you're not done. And whatever is going on is going to be a testimony, when you come through that. So we just have to remember that. At first, that's like when Job went through what he was going through, and the enemy tried to use his wife to discourage him. And she says, she's repeated what the enemy wanted her to say, which was curse God and die. And Job says, you don't sound like my wife. That means that she had never talked like that before. That means that he recognized that there was something speaking through her, that was not her way. And so, we have to look at this situation and say, we can only imagine, except for those of you that experienced the loss of a spouse. And some of us have experienced, the loss of a child, which neither one, we don't have to compare them. It's just hurts. It doesn't matter which one it was. It's hurts. And you can feel like, somebody just knocked the wind out of you. But God, we still standing, we still here, we still get to live this life, because our purpose is not done. And so we just have to look at this situation and wonder, what it is that's going through Orpah and Ruth and Naomi's mind. What are these guys thinking about? We can you don't have to, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what continent, what your culture. When something like this happens, everybody knows that this is a hard thing. Everybody knows that. We're all the same. It doesn't matter how many languages we have. It doesn't matter how many different uh, foods or cultural things that we do different. We are all one. We're all the same. We are all affected by life the same way. It's just, how do we deal with that? How do we respond to that? The difference is in your relationship is how you respond to it. You see, there's you know, I know you guys have, see the news every day or some sort of it, whether you're watching TV directly or whether you're on your social media, things pop up and they show you these breaking stories, notifications, or you're watching the news report, breaking report, this just in, whatever the situation may be. And we see the different things going on. We see that there's a parent losing a child every day. We see that there's a spouse losing a spouse every day. We see that there's someone losing a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a niece or a nephew every day. We see these things. It never stops, guys. It doesn't stop. And we just always praying that, Lord, that it's not me. Lord, it's not my household. It's not my family. It's not my neighbor. But just the fact of the matter is, we never know when those things are coming. We just know that life, it is what it is. And we know that we have this sure hope. We know we have this absolute promise if we do our part, and that is to have our relationship with our Father Jesus. And so that's our always the answer to everything. There's no such thing as good people, guys. And so we can look at these ladies and say they were good people. Why did this happen to them? They're living life. That's how. The Bible says a child is born into a world full of trouble. That's why we are supposed to mourn when a child is born. And we're supposed to rejoice when someone dies because if they did what they were supposed to do, they're going home to be with the Lord. And so, these ladies are in a bad situation. And I don't know if you've ever been there. I hope that you haven't. And I hope that you never have to experience anything like this. Most of people that we know in our day and time, most people, both spouses work, even in homes where people, may not have to work, but they do. Just for whatever reason, not to just be sitting around the house. You shouldn't do that anyway. But, whatever our life situations is, whatever's best for our life situations, hopefully that's what we do that makes our households work the best for us and our children. So, these ladies looking at each other and they say, well, we might as well go home. And they on their journey, while they're on their way, they Naomi's like, look, girls, my sons are dead. I don't have any more sons for you to marry. So you don't owe me anything. You guys can return to your home, go on with your life, get married, to someone else, go on with your life. You don't owe me anything. You don't have to, keep go back home with me to where I'm from. And of course, if we've read the story in Ruth, we know that Ruth stayed with Naomi. She didn't want to leave her because Naomi's up in age. She's not this young spring chicken. She's already past midlife, and so she's not in a position to go out. And I mean, it's not like she can go out and get this job. She didn't have this business that her husband had that she could take over, so what is she gonna do? And so Ruth is like, no, I'm not gonna leave you. I'm gonna stay with you. Your people are gonna be my people. Your God gonna be my God. Wherever you go, that's where I'm gonna go. Naomi tried to get her to go home. She tried to get both of them to go home. And she finally, Orpah was like, okay, all right, she was, it's kind of like, she probably would have went, but yeah, I'm just gonna go because that's what I don't know what else to do right now. But finally she went ahead and said, okay, I'll go home. And so basically she can just return to her people. She can return to her country, her city, wherever, she's from, and just reset. So we're looking at a situation here where, like Boys to Men said, it's so hard to say go. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And so Orpah is like, she's got to turn away from them. They got to turn away from her, and they got to go to, this is what we call life at a crossroads. You got to make a decision. Where are we going to go from here? Are we going to try to keep riding this thing out? We all going to go back to her place and still be three ladies sitting there with no job, no money, no resources, trying to figure out how we're going to eat today. Where are we going to stay? Where are we going to live? And see, the one thing I notice about, when I see people out in the world and I see people in the streets and they're homeless, I always have a question. I always not like looking at them like, why are you there? I'm always looking like thinking like, man, I wonder if they could go home. I wonder if they have family members that they could go home and reset and then, get things back going and then, get back on their feet. And see, that's why it's so important not to destroy relationships. Kids growing up in the house, and I teach my kids, and I teach anyone that will listen. When you're at home with your parents, and you're in high school, when you're in college, you don't waste your life, don't waste your money. If you're at home, you should be saving your money. And when it's time for you to exit home, whether that be to finish college in another place or you're moving out into your life, you have money. You've saved up. You didn't go out to eat every day. You didn't sit around here trying to buy the expensive shoes and clothes that you don't even need to buy, just wasting money because you want to look like you got it going on for whatever reason with these trying to keep up with social medias. You're not these celebrities. You're not these people that whatever they're doing on these social medias, they're posting, people want to buy these things to keep up with the Joneses. And you save your money so that when you start your life that you have money, whatever, you finish your college, but you're not broke. When you come out of college, you have money, because while you were staying at home with your parents, you saved money, you did the right things. And so, you know in this particular situation, Orpah didn't have any money. They didn't have any money saved up. They didn't, there was just not that time. There was no stock market. I don't even know, when in that particular time, where you where you gonna keep your stuff? If you had some gold, you got to have some person to watch it. It wasn't like you could put it in this vault like we have. We have all these conveniences, but often when I see people in positions, my question is always, man, can they if we gave them a ticket, would they go home? You know? Or have you damaged the relationship with your parents and your siblings and your family members to where you can't go home because you're not welcome, because you destroyed the relationship? And so that would be the question for these ladies right here, right now. But obviously, Ruth and Naomi knew that she could go home. She didn't leave under a bad situation or nothing. Neither did the ladies. They left because they were married. And so here's Ruth and Naomi saying goodbye to Orpah. How many people out there, if they would just go home and instead of staying out there in the middle of nowhere on the streets, trying to hope that people will stop and have mercy and donate. People don't know what they're donating to. They don't know if you what's going on. They don't know if they're helping you. They don't know if they're contributing to you buying a drug or buying a drink or whatever. They don't know because just where there are people that are hurting, there are also people that are using those things for, and they're not hurting, but they are out there disguising themselves as these people. And that's not our responsibility to try to figure out who's who. We just, if we can help, we do. And that's why we donate to organizations that do those things, if in case we feel like, well, I don't know this person, so I don't know what they will or will not do. But maybe if I'm donating to these shelters, that when these people come here, that they have place for them, and they're helping other people get back on their feet. So that's one way to do it. But just do something. That's why we give when we go to worship. It's not because people have all these different ideologies when they don't want to, when they're stingy, and they don't want to give because they thinking, well, I don't want to give because just be quiet. You just say you're stingy, um, because people, we have to understand that it takes resources to be able to help the orphan, the widow, the poor, the homeless. It takes resources, and if we don't build up those resources in our ministries, how can we help people? If we help people, then they're going to know that we love God because we love them. And then that changes their lives. Not only when they get back on their feet, they want to be a part of our family, the family of God. And so that's what real love does. That's what real reaching out and resources does. So in your life, hopefully, you, well, the bottom line is we none of us can avoid these things. It's just the fact that we can set ourselves different. In this particular time, these ladies couldn't set themselves any different. They didn't have opportunity to have their own business outside of their husbands. Their business was their husband. Their business was their children, their family, making the home and making, that's how they helped their husband. And so they were on ground zero. There are people in this day and time that are on ground zero because some people have a husband that may work and she's a homemaker. She's the domestic engineer. She keeps the family running, and she doesn't have a salary check with her name on it, but her husband's money is supposed to be all her money as well. And so the sad part is the fact that there are some men out there that don't understand that, and they think that they're supposed to keep things from their wives, and sometimes they decide to trade their wives in for some other woman and try to actually leave her with nothing and with their kids. So, that's a horrible thing. So there are ladies that still go through things similar to this or worse than this even today, because if the guy takes and hides everything and runs off, you still have nothing. And hopefully you didn't destroy your ties to your family while you were connecting with this man. And some people do, because your family recognized something about him, but you wouldn't listen to them. And you ran off and married him anyway. And now he's left you stranded without anything, but you too ashamed to go back home. And so instead of being able to call your mom, your sister, your brother, a family member, and say, hey, this is what's going on. I need a reset. You've destroyed these relationships, and now you're too ashamed, and you're too broken, and you're too much at a breach to go home. So you're out here trying to make it on broken pieces and in this other city. And now next thing we know, you in a shelter, that you didn't have to be in, but you could have went home if it would have just mended the relationships. If you just wouldn't have destroyed the relationships because you thought this guy is all I need. And anybody that loves you is not trying to get you to destroy relationships, you know. And so when we say goodbye to Orpah, it just simply means that sometimes that life, it's time for us to part ways. It don't mean we don't there has to be any love lost. It's just time for us. You going that way, I'm going this way. And we may see you, we may not. Like we can't say, well, we'll see you later always. Sometimes when we part ways, we're parting ways for that's it. You know, I don't know. I might see you on Facebook. I might see your name. That doesn't mean that we'll never, see each other. But our that particular time in our life is over. That particular run in our life is over. And so that's just the way life is. When your kids get to a certain age, they're going to go to college. They're going to leave your house. You didn't raise them for them to stay there. You raised them for them to grow up and do what you're doing right now, to have their own life, their own family, they're going to choose their own city that they choose to live in. And at some point, we got to tell them bye. You know, um, I left home when I was 19. Going to the big city to live my life. So, that's my parents looking at me and they like, all right, son, you know, gotta let you, do your thing, But I grew up, being responsible for the most part. So it wasn't a great fear, as in, this boy is going to go out here and, destroy his life or something like that. Y'all, excuse me, I got to sneeze. I'm trying to hold it. Um, so as a time, you got to look at your kids and you got to say, hey, you got to go fly. Whether they're going off to college, they may not ever, when they go to that college, that 4-year college or whatever, they may not ever come back, move back home, and hopefully that because everything is going well. And when they graduate college and they come out of college with a job and they have their own apartment, then they, next thing you know, they have their own marriage, then they have their own home, So parting ways is not always a bad thing. It's just a part of life. And in this situation, it wasn't a bad thing. It's just a part of life. It's just understanding when it's time for us to part ways, for us to let go. There's no need for us to beating the same drum. And we need to understand that. We need to understand that when we have a job, when we have friends, when we have different situations in life, it doesn't matter how we know the person or what the situation. Sometimes it's just time for us to part ways because it's better for us. It's better because this situation is not working anymore. We've rode this horse as far as it can go, and now it's time for us to now, okay, we this has fulfilled its purpose. It's time. And now there's a new level. Now there's a new exploration. Now there's a new chapter, and we have to go to that. And when I turn the page, you may not be in this chapter. That doesn't mean that I don't love you. That doesn't even mean that we won't remain friends, but it may not. We may not remain friends. We may just be Facebook associates now. We might just say hello every once in a while through a social media. We may not even have each other's cell phone number anymore, but we can't look back on that. We won't, that just means that time, that season for whatever we were doing, that thing is over. And sometimes people don't know when to let things like that go. And if you look around your house, let me help somebody right quick. If you look around your house, look at the things that you have. How long have you had them? Why do you have them? You see, some people have a cluttered home because they say, I don't want to let that go. That has sentimental value. Whatever that means. I know what it means. I'm just saying that that's my way of saying that doesn't make sense to me. Don't anybody, there's things that we have that we don't use. When I look, I don't know about you, but when I drive through my neighborhood, everybody has a 2-car garage. 85% of them are parked outside of that garage because their garage is full of things, boxes that they've not unpacked, things some people have because they don't have. It's not like everybody has a storage or shed in the backyard to where they can put all the lawn equipment or things like that, tools. I understand that, but if you need one, you got to get one, because I don't know about you, but I didn't buy a house to park outside, and then when it hails and storms, your cars get destroyed because you're not parked in your garage. If you have a 2-car garage, you should have 2 cars in that garage. If you don't, it's because you have too much stuff. And so you look at your garage, you look at your furniture, the things that you have, whatever you have around your house, and you can tell if you have a hard time letting go. If you have a hard time letting go, your house is cluttered. You have too much furniture. You have too many things. Your house is not neat. It's just a clutter because you won't let that go. My aunt gave that to me. My mom gave that to me. What does that have to do with anything? If it doesn't fit your decor in your house, if it doesn't fit what you have going on in your house, you don't hold on to something. I don't care who gave it to you. It means nothing. It's a piece of furniture. That furniture has no feelings. Your mother's feelings are not going to be hurt because you don't have room for that furniture anymore. That season is over. So we hold on to these things, and that's a very key evidence that you also have a problem letting go of things in life, that you emotionally don't know how to let things go. You don't know how to forgive. You don't know how to move on when it's time to move on. That's why we have relationships, dating, things that nature, friends, and we don't know when to let people go. We don't know when the season is over. And we try to hold on to these people because we don't know what to do right now. I don't want to be by myself. I've invested too much time in a relationship. That's not the stock market. It's not an investment. It's you give all you have, but if the person decides that they don't want to be there, what can you do about that? So in the stock market, if the stock doesn't perform anymore, the person sells it. They don't try to keep holding on to it and saying, well, I'm going to hold on to it. I've been with it so long. That's what people do. We hold on to things that we should let go of. When that season is over, we have to recognize and accept and understand that season for this thing, this person, this time, this place is over. I can't be afraid to move on. I can't be afraid for the next chapter. The next chapter is better. But if I keep trying to stay in the last chapter and never move, that's that place called stagnancy. That's that place called complacency. That's that place called I'm stuck. You can't don't move in Stuckville. You gotta be, God is always trying to give you something new. The plans he has for you are not in the same place. They're not in yesterday, they're in today and tomorrow. So we have to learn from Orpah, we have to learn from Ruth and Naomi that when we come to the end of our season together, we can't be afraid, no matter what we gotta, it may be uncomfortable. But I tell you what, if you're trying to find comfort in discomfort, you're going to always be uncomfortable. You have to become uncomfortable to get where you're supposed to go. You can't do it trying to be cute. You can't do it trying to sit there and not get any dirt on your fingers. You can't do it without getting some knees, being on your knees praying, but then getting up and then putting it into action. It doesn't work like that. And so we have to let our kids go. We have to let our associates go. Just like when we moved out and you became an adult, you had to let your parents go. You can't live at your parents' house and live at your house too. You have to part ways. They have their house. They raised you for you to leave. Now, when you raise your kids, don't sit there and act like you didn't leave your parents' house. Don't be trying to hold on to your kids when it's time for them to leave. No, you don't want them to leave prematurely. You want them to leave when it's the season to leave, when they mature, when they are ready to move to the next level of life. And hopefully they do that, at a very good pace. On the right timing, on a God time. So but you're going to have to let them go. There's some friends that you have now that are not going to be your friends next week, next year. You have to let them go. There may be a job you're working on in it. That season may come to an end and you have to go to a new one. Don't be afraid. Just understand that season has come to an end. Now, we've talked about, this kind of runs with what we talked about last week. So I'm not going to beat this horse to death. Hopefully that we said something today that we didn't say last time that gave you something else. But just understand that there's a time in our lives. Look around your house. Look around your car. Look around your office. Look around your garage. See what things that you're holding on to. How long have those things been in that box? How long have they been on that shelf? How long has that furniture sit there, but it doesn't go with anything you have? It's just sitting there and it's out of place. It doesn't match anything in your house, but you holding on to it because someone gave it to you and you say it's sentimental value. What is it doing for you? What value does it bring besides you bumping your knee on it when you walk through the house, or someone else bumping into it? Are you trying to squeeze through to get to your house because you have these things? There's this show they have, they're called hoarders, and you see these people, they don't want to let go of anything. I'm gonna use it. No, you're not. And now you can't even use your house because your house is so full, it's so crowded, you can't even get through. So guys, we can be that way physically on the outside, and we can be that way emotionally on the inside, to where we're so full of stuff. And then that what we have on the inside can show up on the outside, and we have all this stuff, and we have all these people, and we trying to keep up with them, but they don't fit anymore. They're not. I'm married now. Now you want to stay single. We want to do different things. I can't go hang out with you. You want to go over there. You trying to catch a man. You trying to catch a woman. I'm not out here trying to chase anybody. I got what I need at home. And so all these different things going on in your life, all these different facets. It doesn't mean that I don't like you, but we can't do the same thing we used to do. Our level is, we can meet, we can talk, we still can talk, we still can meet for coffee. Just because I get saved, that don't mean you got to run away. I'm not judging you. You judging yourself. You feel condemned because there's light shining around you. And it makes you look at yourself. We just have to know when the season is over. If that person chooses, because just because I got saved first doesn't mean anything. Just because you got saved first doesn't mean, as long as I'm not trying to drag you back into sin, we still have, that doesn't change the fact that we have a relationship, unless you decide to change that and you say, well, too much light around you. I don't want to be around that light because I feel bad. Why you feel bad? That's you judging yourself. I'm not judging you. And so there just comes a time, guys. And you guys get, pop your questions, get ready to jump in there. And I'm not gonna beat the horse. We already know what time it is. When that season is over, it's time to let go. All right, ladies, give me your comments, your questions. Churches too. Churches have become graveyards and purpose burial sites because people are still sitting in the pews past the purpose God has in mind. Absolutely. Absolutely. If somebody was trying to speak, go ahead and speak. Just break off. I just didn't want it to be any dead time here. So if somebody wants to say something, jump in. So for the churches, this comment, churches, a lot of times, church is the best place to hide. People they learn how to look holy. They learn how to lift holy hands. They learn all the songs. They learn the dress code, all this type of stuff, and then they sitting there and they're not doing anything with purpose. They don't even understand purpose. They just think that this is a hangout, a meeting place that we meet at, and it's a feel good moment. And then we go home and that's not what it's about. It's supposed to be a place of power, where we should be more powerful every time we meet together, and so we can take that into our homes and into our workplaces, into the marketplaces, because we're supposed to be changing lives with that power. And so we're not supposed to sit there and be sitting and doing nothing. We're not serving. We're not serving in ministry. We're not serving in the community. That's what that's for. It's to teach us to give us the tools to take out into the world and serve that to the world. Your gifts, your time, your talent, your money, your love, all your abilities, your businesses, whatever. You serve the world. And that's what that's for. It's not for you to go and sit in this place and, oh, I've done my good deed for you ain't doing God no favor going to no worship center. Are you crazy? You ain't doing God no favor. That's for you, not for him. You're supposed to be building each other up in the most holy faith. You're not doing God a favor by showing up at a church service. You got to be kidding me. You God is honored when you take him at his word, you obey him, and then you share that with everybody that you come in contact with by you doing the right things, loving your neighbor as yourself. But me sitting in a building and sitting there and I'm not doing anything, I'm not helping anybody, I'm not even helping the people at the building. I'm just sitting there waving my hand and looking like I'm sincere. Man, you got to be kidding me. You're not doing, no different than an atheist. Don't do that. You're supposed to be mentoring somebody. You're supposed to be helping people build their lives. While you're building your life, you're supposed to be helping other people that are not where you are build their lives to the best that they can. You're supposed to be helping them understand their purpose. So we're not supposed to be sitting anywhere stuck and just hanging out, right? So let's not do that. Let's see, somebody says, I bind the spirit of stuck. Absolutely, don't do it. When it's time to move around, move around. So any questions or comments, guys? Saying bye to Orpah. All right, I give a few seconds, and I'm not gonna let the time just be like, I don't want us to have dead space. So either type it in the chat or come off the mute and say it. So let's see. Yeah, some people keep clothes and things like that, and they keep the closet spaces, the racks are starting to do like that because they don't want to let go of some stuff. And you haven't worn those clothes in 5 years. You're not gonna wear it. I may use it. No, you're not. Let it go. Go ahead and move that out. And also at the same time, you know, don't you don't have to like buy stuff that you're not gonna use. Sometimes people go shopping and they don't. You just bought that because you wanted to go shopping. Like you didn't even really need that. Like what are you gonna do with it? And then you still have these clothes in your closet with tags on it. Well, that doesn't even make sense. Just I mean, come on, just look at your life and be like, okay. And when you buy something, make sure you're buying it because it has a purpose, and then you're going to use it. And I don't understand how we have things sitting in our closet and we don't wear it. Wear it. You bought the shoes, wear them. I mean, you're not this person, this celebrity that out there that says I only wear shoes one time. That's crazy too. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you got $1 billion. You sit there and you wear shoes one time and throw it away. Man, something wrong with you. You better wear those shoes, Mr. Billionaire. You have to get rid of the old and make room for the new. You have to, and hopefully that you used the old well and wisely. Hopefully you didn't just let it sit there and let it be dormant when it had something. Who is that? Somebody trying to say something? If you're jumping in, jump in. So if you had something old, don't just let it be old because you didn't use it. Hopefully it got its well wear and it served its purpose and you got to use it. You got to, whatever it was for, whatever whether it be clothing, equipment, whatever it was, give it its proper use. And then sometimes, just like we have to upgrade our computers, guys, we have to upgrade our cell phones and stuff like that. They make it where we have to do that. There are other things in your life that sometimes they need to be upgraded. We have to let go. Sometimes wives have to go through their husband's clothes when they're not looking and throw away shirts that the husband should have thrown away years ago. He's still wearing that t-shirt. It should have been going. And so you have to go through and you have to replace some of his clothing because he won't. Because men don't care about shopping that much. Most of us don't. We like to look good, but we're shopping is not the forefront of our mind. And so the forefront of our mind is always for a real man is, taking care of our family. And so that's why, ladies, if you know what he likes to wear or you know what he looks good in, you just stop and buy that shirt, you know, because a lot of times we don't like to just go in and just, be hanging out. We want to go in, get what we want, and come out. That's why men are sometimes, so you ladies don't get offended sometimes if men don't like to go shopping with you because men don't like to be long in stores. Their minds are not, our minds don't function like that. Yeah, we can watch football all day long. We can watch basketball all day because that's how our mind works. We can mow the lawn. Well, that takes time, but we understand things like that. That's where the difference is when you have your time and we have our time. So don't get mad if your husband is like he don't want to go to the mall with you, or if he wants to sit in the food court or whatever while you shopping, because he can eat, but he don't want to be walking in all them stores around all them other ladies and all y'all got to try on all these other things. Like, we don't shop like that. We walk in the store, we know what we're looking for, we go to that store. Okay, I want this suit, I want this color, let's get that thing, and we out. I want these shoes, these match what I got, and we out. We ain't trying to hang out at the mall 3-4 hours. We go in there, we might be there long enough to get what we want. That's it. So y'all understand that. Let's not fight about those type of things. Let's see. Thank you for sharing the intersections of our lives pertaining to letting go and moving on to forgiveness. Our lives are parallel, our ways, how we process and choose to do things, and why. These things are so hidden, and that's why we must be intentional with our salvation and go through the processes beyond the original salvation Confession, absolutely. And, letting go is something, I always tell, I know somebody sing a song about it, but I always tell people, don't mess with me. I'm very good at goodbye. And that just simply means that, when I learned, from the past, you just don't try to hold on to things, you just you have to know that this season is over for that. And we need to now it's time to move forward. It's time to move over here or go up there. And you just can't stay there and sit there in that season and thinking that like you're waiting on God. And God is like, dude, I'm waiting on you. I'm wondering when you're gonna stop pining over the past. I'm wondering when you're gonna let that go. You gotta tell Orpah bye. And you gotta become when things don't it's time for them to move, you gotta become real good at goodbye. And it's like I was, even with as much as it hurts, we have to let people go, whether that be in life or whether that be in death. We have to let them go. You're not um we think that we are honoring a thing by holding on to it. We're not. We're not. We think that we feel bad if we let go. You shouldn't. You can't do anything about it. And so you have to live forward because you need to live and there are people that need to be affected by your life in a positive way. And your family needs you to live. They need you to be at your best. They don't need you to be at 50%. I was talking to this lady and she's sharing her situation, and basically her husband comes home every day and he checks out. He provides for the family, but he comes home every day and checks out. No involvement with the wife and the kids. He checks out every day. He provides, he pays the bills. That's it. Something happened to him. Something broke him somewhere in his life. And most times these things don't come out until we get married. That's when the enemy starts reminding you of those bad things, because he knows marriage brings God glory, because marriage is the foundation of family. And so we have to be able to let go of things, guys, because that's the only place that we can have freedom. You can't have freedom holding on. That doesn't work like that. Freedom is in letting go. Let it go. And I promise you, if you get really good at letting things go that need to be let go of, marriage, you fight for marriage. Um, you fight for the well-being of things, but things that don't have a place in your life, that shouldn't have a place in your life, you don't fight for those things. You have to let those things go. You have to let what people did go. You have to let times and seasons go. There's new seasons. Last fall is not this fall. Last summer is not this summer. Those seasons must change. They must become new. The young become old. We keep growing. We keep moving. So I hope that I've said enough. Hopefully that you got something out of this that you didn't get before. Um, and we just keep moving forward. Does anyone have a question or comment? If not, I'm not going to hold you.
Good morning, Mr. Arlen.
Good morning.
I was sitting here laughing because I have it bad about keeping stuff. And so I had this nightgown that my mom had gave me long time ago, probably like 10 years ago. And I finally got rid of it because the hole started looking like a muscle shirt to where you can put a arm through there.
Yeah.
But it's just like, when you get sentimental stuff, it is hard to hold, let go of. But, I just sit here and laugh, and I'm still laughing at myself because I have a bad shoe fetish. And I have shoe boxes like in my closet lined up and going up the wall. And I've given away shoes. And so I went to my storage and I got shoes in there too. And so this right here, I'm gonna have to do a clean out this weekend. I'm gonna have to. It's bad. I even still got the nightgown back in the day. I don't even know if they still make them with the buttons that go down the front. That was passed down from my grandma,
Oh my
But
God.
this really helped me out a lot. So I am going to do some decluttering this weekend. But thank you for allowing me to share.
I hope you're not parked outside. So I mean, like when we have stuff like, guys, if a person gave you something, if you wore it and it got its wear, I mean, that you did. I mean, it's not like, they gave it to you and you never wore it and it just sat there. And even if it did, that means you didn't like it, because if you liked it, you will wear it. And so when you have things like that, clothes and things like that, if it's been over 2 years and you still haven't worn it, you're not going to wear it. It's time to bless somebody with that who needs some clothes. That's why we have the Salvation Army, and these the Goodwill drop-offs and all these different donation places, I mean, sometimes, and ladies, that may be another subject. We may have to talk about that at a different time, but sometimes ladies do this thing called retail therapy. And sometimes you buy things because you think it's going to make you feel better, because ladies like nice things. And sometimes you feel like when you're treating yourself, that's going to make you feel better. But if you're buying it to make yourself feel better, you're buying it for the wrong reason. You should buy what you buy, because you need that, or that's what you need for that time, or you want for that time, but you're going to actually use it. So if you have shoes that you never wear, you don't even remember they're there, why are we buying them? Why we have it? And I could pick on my wife about that. I do sometimes. I laugh about it. And I'm like, this thing still got a tag on it. I ain't never seen these shoes before. So we don't have to do those things, and we think, well, I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to use that. I might use that. No, might. It's been 10 years. What are you talking about? You're not going to use that. You have no use of it. And I'm one of those people, like if I haven't used it in 6 months to a year, it's got to go. It's got to go. I do not like clutter. I mean, I grew up in a small houses and stuff like that. We always shared a room with my brother, and thank God we got along. But I want, from growing up, I want space. I want to be able to see the floor. I want to be able to walk around the room. If I was, if Stevie Wonder were in my house, I want him to be able to walk around the room. And so we have to make sure that when we have these things, whether they clothes, shoes, furniture, whatever it is, guys, if I haven't seen it, I don't need it. If I can't see the bottom of my closet and see my shoes, man, I mean, something has to change. I gotta either, if I don't have a closet, and I know, I know some people that they have some big closets and they can have a shelf for every shoe and they can actually see every shoe. Well, if you don't have that, you have to, do things according to what you do have. And that may mean I need to buy some, either organize some shelves in my closet where I can fit my shoes, but hopefully I'm going to wear them. I mean, I don't want to buy shoes that I'm not going to wear. So, yeah, you definitely, but what that is a result of too, is the fact that you remember, what you just said, it's a reflection of what's here. And if you're having trouble letting some things go on the inside, it's going to reflect on what you let go on the outside. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with us, and hopefully a lot of people will be blessed by your cleaning, by your release. Anybody else have a question or comment? And 3 and 2 and 1. All right. So, guys, hopefully you got something out of was somebody coming in? Don't let me stop you. So hopefully you got something out of saying bye to Orpah. And you know that you didn't think about before, but let us get good at letting go of things that need to let go, guys. As we get ready to leave today, remember that you are only as free as you choose to be. And what we don't need to be separated from is the love of God. What we don't need to be separated from, go to Mikia. Or you go ahead.
John, I'm sorry. Edward is doing better. Can I help you? Are you on his hip?
Are you talking to us, Tamikia?
Okay, let me see if you're on his hip first, okay?
Mute your phone if you're not
Yeah,
talking
it
to us,
works.
Tamikia.
Yeah. see if they're on
Mute
this
your phone.
skipper.
We don't want to know his business. Mute your phone. So hopefully, guys, you know, we don't want to be separated from the love of God. We don't want to be separated from our spouses. We don't want to be separated from our children, and those that we love, our relatives. Okay, so those things those aren't the things. We're not trying to throw things away that need to be kept. We're trying to let go of things that we don't need to hold on. Sometimes you have a relative and we just don't get along. Doesn't mean I'm throwing you away. It just means that the way we operate is different, guys. And that's what all we have to recognize in life. Where am I going to put these things? And do I need to completely separate from them? Because I promise you, if you have problems letting go here, you're going to have problems letting go of things physically. And all you got to do is walk through your house, look at your mail, look at your furniture, look at your clothes, look at your garage, and it'll tell you if you have a problem letting go. Because people that don't have a problem letting go, they have a neat space, and they can find things. They can park their cars in their garage. They know where their tools are. They know where their clothes and their shoes are. They know where those things are. They know that they've worn those pants, or those pants they're done. The season is over. Okay, those have to go. And that's the way we have to understand, you know, every part of our lives, guys. We fight for this balance. So I hope that you would choose to not hold on to things that you don't need to hold on to, that you recognize the season, and don't be afraid to let go. I promise you, letting go is not a bad thing. Letting go is just means that you're keeping yourself clear, you're keeping your future, your path free, because you holding on to those things are you putting hurdles in your own way. You're putting your own stumbling blocks in your own way. That's called self-sabotage. Those are called self-inflicted wounds. You're doing that to yourself now. And you're frustrated and you don't understand why. And it's only because you're holding on to things emotionally or physically that you need to let go of. And those things are blocking you. And now you look at them and you're like, man, I'm frustrated with this house. Man, no, it's just the fact that you need to let some things go. You need to move some things, you need to clear some things. And so you can see again. You got to be able to see. And if your life seems cluttered in your mind and your heart, that means some things need to be let go of. I hope that you've been blessed by this. I hope that we've said something that will catapult you into the next dimension of your destiny, that you will learn that you need to be like an eagle. You got to fly above those things that you shouldn't be hanging out with, guys. And I pray the peace of God upon your lives. I pray that God give you clarity, wisdom, and understanding and instruction for everything that you need to do today and going forward with every area of your life. I pray that your homes, your marriages, your families are blessed. They're unified. They're full of faith, hope, and love. And I hope that you wake up every day knowing that you give 100% to everything that you're responsible for doing. And everything around you, let it feel the love and passion in you. I promise you, you'll change somebody's life, even just with a smile. Go and have a wonderful day. Live in peace. Until we see you next time, go and be great. All right. Bye-bye.